Last episode, the Tigers dropped a series against the Royals, but then came back and won 2 series against the White Sox and then the Texas Rangers right after. So now we enter the month of June, and I do think that after we get to draft day, which should be at the start of next month, once we get there, I think we're going to move probably a whole lot faster for this year, just because next year is when the ball really gets rolling in the off season and seeing some guys down in Double and AAA perhaps. But I think once we get past June, it's going to go a lot faster for this year and for next year most likely as well. And so today, we're probably going to get all the way through the entire month of June to get us as close as possible to draft day, which should be, I believe, on July 2nd or 3rd perhaps, somewhere around here. Maybe it's July 7th. But before we go any further, I think I do want to make one adjustment to our team. That's probably going to be to send our shortstop, Andrew Navigato, back down to AAA because he has not performed well for our team this year. He's had a couple of hits, only a couple of RBIs, and I think that he is probably best used down in AAA, and he's playing short right now, but he is a second baseman, but we're going to move him back to AAA. And although he has not played, super well down in AAA this year so far, I think I'll bring in Torkelson and we can move a couple guys around in terms of their defensive positions, but we'll bring in Torkelson back to the majors after, he is batting .258, has definitely picked things up the last couple of weeks, the last month or so. So we'll bring him up for the first time this year. And by the way, Wenceel Perez, please let me know if I am saying that wrong, but Perez is playing pretty well in the low amount of action that he's had, batting .286 and 35 at bats. And I think it might be worth just see what he can do, because this season is not going to go anywhere. He can play second, third, and shortstop, so might as well bring him in. And this way we can still move things around, maybe take Maton or somebody out of the lineup perhaps. I feel like he's batting fairly well, .253, not bad at all. Alright, so against lefties, we are going to keep Miggy on the bench for these, even though he's better hitting lefties. He just has not played well this year, and I think it's worth to, we can still let him play obviously against righties, but we can get playing time for Perez and keep playing time for Veerling as well. Most guys besides Riley Green are actually batting fairly well this year, like around .250 or higher for most of these players right here, except for Green, who's at like .232 on the year, not including torque obviously, but want to see what this lineup can do, so we'll do this as well. So we enter June to face the White Sox, the Phillies, the Diamondbacks, the Braves, the Twins in 2 different series, the Royals, and the Rangers, plus the first game against Colorado. So we're going to sim all the way down here and get into a home series against the Twins on June 23rd. So we're going to sim through this and just see what happens. We'll see any critical game situations that pop up, and we'll jump in a couple of those perhaps. But a few days later, time for more scouting. Week 10 of 14. So we get some interest for Vinny Fernandez, Ike Ortega, and Kevin Weinstein at 48% interest, which means I think we have to get about 50. It has to be 50 for them to actually sign. But we do get some good info on both Fernandez and Ortega. Ortega might be a guy that we take a little bit before his draft rank, because I do know that other teams have, kind of similar draft ranks, so they might take guys earlier than expected as well. So Fernandez, Ortega, really good ideas here. We have Fernandez higher on our draft rank than the league does, and he has a very good potential, so he could be a catching prospect that we go after with our second first-round pick. And Weinstein, I think we're good to leave him where he is, except we're going to try and increase the interest at left field. So let's actually, it still is right there, so it'll keep increasing it as we go along. But I think we'll add a couple new players probably towards the latter half of the draft this time around, so we can just get an all-encompassing prospect board. By the way, Felix Salas was the first prospect that we had ever scouted before here in the series, and he is 7th on the total rank and 14th on our draft board, and he's got potential from 77 to 89. We got him 100% scouted. He won some pretty big bonus at $6.3 million. And he's mostly a fielding and speed kind of guy. We don't really know a whole lot about his batting outlook, but it does not look like it's going to be even above average. So I think we're going to look elsewhere for our first pick. We did talk about him being our first pick for a little while, but I think we're going to look elsewhere instead. So based on the top 100 draft prospects, besides Kareem Logan and Salas, the next position player that is ranked is Ted Rosenberg at second base. And don't really know a whole lot about him, so we'll scout him, and then we'll focus the rest of the time on info on later draft picks. I'm going to add Thomas Marlin to our scouting setup for this week. He has a very high potential according to our 40% scouting. Again, we don't really know a lot about his batting right now, but that will change as we learn more about him and scout more. But he looks like kind of like Salas, as like, you know, a really good fielder, really good base runner, but not a lot of batting there. But we'll see what happens. Gotta say, looking through these draft prospects, it is hard to find a guy that has a really good future in terms of contact and power. So Joe Chavez, you know, is not a late round pick by any means, but he probably will go in the first round. I'm not going to scout him yet, but I'm looking through, and not a lot of players have good contact or power, but finding some right here. But I want to go even later in the draft to see if there's anybody down here like John Heller, perhaps. Not really. I found somebody who might at least have some decent contact later on based on the potential, but he's 18 years old. We don't really know anything about him. But Sid Osborne, second baseman, we will add him as our third and final prospect for this week. We will advance. Now we enter a game against Philadelphia where they are trying to complete a shutout. Aaron Nola has gone the entire distance to this point. Top of the ninth. Haas swing through the curveball for strike number one. You're in Philadelphia. Trying to avoid giving the fans anything to cheer about as we foul off the second curveball. Get in front of it. 0-2 pitch. Crushed, and Haas ties the game. A missile launched to left. And just like that, we might have just ended Aaron Nola's day. .381 feet. Haas is 9th on the season. Is that going to be it for Aaron Nola? I have no idea, but we're about to find out. Here's a second look at this one. Just got all of it. It does look like Haas has ended Nola's day. This game might be going to extras, but Andrew Bellotti will come in to try and force that. Or at least force us to go bottom of 9 with a 1-1 game. So cleanup hitter Austin Meadows steps up to the plate. And he swings to the first pitch. Ooh, another pitch that paints the corner. It's 2 already. 0-2 hole for Meadows. Got a good ball to hit. Out in front though. There's ball 1 outside. Trying to get Meadows to chase here. The count goes 1-2 instead. Oh, the low slider just below the zone. That's a nice pitch. So DH Matt Vierling will step up to the plate. Batting 5th here. He takes ball 1. The 1-0. Inside and low. And that might be a flare into right field, and it does not get down. A nice grab in right is made to prevent a base runner. Guthrie made the grab. So Miggy steps up. 2 outs, top of the 9th. The 0-1. It's got to be crushed, but instead it's flown out to left field, and we're going bottom 9. So Matt Manning is still in here for Detroit. He has pitched the last couple of innings in relief. He's going to stay in to try and avoid a walk-off. To Raphael Marchand is at the plate. And he hits this one to right field, but the grab is made by Meadows for out number 1. Now it's Brandon Marsh's turn, batting .263 this season. Change up below the zone does not get him to swing. Joey Wentz and Matt Whistler warming up in the bullpen right now for the Tigers. Marsh grounds it. Vierling at first base. Wait, why is Vierling playing first? What's going on here with this lineup? Josh Harrison next up, and he pops this one out to Vierling at first. The catch is made, and we are going to extras right here in Philadelphia. All right, top of the 10th. Maton just flew out. Scope now at the plate against Connor Brogdon, who has not had a good pitching season, allowing a high average to both lefties and righties. So let's see if we can tack on a run before we go to the bottom of the 10th and potentially win this game. Beat ball to Scope, but it's going to be right to the center fielder. Now 2 outs. Now it's our first look at Perez, who is already 1 for 3 today, had a double, a single there in the 9th. Now we'll flare this one out, and it's caught for out number 3. Tigers can't capitalize, and we're going bottom 10 with Philadelphia having a really nice chance at walking this one off. Trey Turner leads off for Philadelphia here in the 10th. How is that not a strike? What's going on here, Blue? Gotta call that. That's a perfect pitch. As Manning does stay in here. There's strike 1. Ump, are you kidding me? That's 2 dead in the zone that you have called the ball. It's home cooking. What's going on here? The 2-1 is outside. Did he go? They say no. Unbelievable. Turner ahead in the counts. That one's a foul ball. Count goes full. And he got him to pop out. Scope coming over. Why is Scope playing third base? None of this is how it should be. Something weird happened here. They must have subbed somebody and moved some guys around, because this is not at all what you guys saw in the lineups there, and that's not what I put. But Kyle Schwarber comes up, already has a double and a single under his belts here in the game. 3-0 count to Schwarber now. Haas telling Manning to relax with Nick Castellanos on deck, who's had a phenomenal year to this point. Trying to avoid having 2 men on base. They could set up well for a double play, though. There's strike 1. Another one sits in there. The curveball was left upstairs. Could have had a really nice chance at a power swing there, but count goes full. Schwarber gets a hold of it. Meadows going back, and that one's gone. This time they do leave the yard, and it's over. A walk-off for Philadelphia. Kyle Schwarber, his 13th homer on the season, and Philadelphia fans are cheering after a scare from Eric Haas. At least the game was interesting, but we dropped the first 2 games against Philly 1-3. We did beat the White Sox once again in a series. 2 out of 3 games we took, but back to more simming. All right, new scouting week. We got 50% on Rosenberg and Sid Osborne. We got the interest up for Marlin as well, and Marlin looks to be a really nice prospect. 85 to 90 potential from what we can tell. We've got him 100%. He's 22 years old, can play short, second, and third. And looks like he'll have potentially some nice arm strength and some pretty solid speed as well. And then eventually he'll have some really nice speed. But mostly a fielder and speed, base runner kind of guy. And it's really hard to find batters that are, not terrible right now. At least, well below average, like in the red. You almost never see guys that are in the yellow or green or blue for any batting stat at all, but we will remove him from our scouting assignment. There's also, Rosenberg, got more info on him. He still might have some nice contact and some really nice lefty power. So we're going to keep scouting him. And for Sid Osborne, got him up to about 47% here. And he still might have some decent contact. He'll have some nice speed as well. But still, wide range for both guys. We're going to keep scouting those two. And for our third prospect, I'm going to do Julio Guzman, who has 81 to 95 potential with 10% scouting. Third baseman, not known about his secondary spots, but he should go later in the draft. I'll add him as well. We'll get scouting on him. In fact, because we're going to get 45% on both of these guys up here, what if I move this to priority number 1? You still get 45 for the other two, so let's do this because then we can just complete Guzman in one swoop. Now we jump into a game where all of a sudden Detroit is up 10-0, top of the 8th. And Erod has a shutout going. We're going to see if we can take this all the way. We just got our second out here in the 8th inning with a man on second. We're just going to see if Erod can complete this full game. Only had 81 pitches, almost through a full 8 innings, so he's keeping that pitch count low as well. Longoria grounds it to short. The throw is made over to first, where Carpenter makes the grab. That'll end the 8th. Gabriel Moreno leads off the 9th for Arizona. There's strike 1. Moreno got a piece of it, but it was inside and high, and he pops out to carry Carpenter. 2 outs away from a shutout game once again for Erod. We saw one, I believe, last episode, or the one prior to that, where he had a really phenomenal performance, pitched all 9 innings, only had 3 hits, and I believe 3 walks, and that was it. So we're going to see if we can have a similar performance here, a similar ending to his game. As Emmanuel Rivera takes ball 1. That one is hit to center field. Green coming over. Dives and he makes the grab. Riley Green showing off the speed. Yes, sir. Next batter, Nick Ahmed. That one is hit to left field. Baddoo coming over. Please. No! With 2 outs? You're kidding me. His 9th of the season. That breaks up the shutout. Obviously. You can't have shit in Detroit, man. You really can't. Erod stays in, trying to just complete the game, and he got him looking to end it. The Tigers take this one with our best offensive day in months. Almost got a shutout, but it wasn't meant to be. But a win is nice, though. A win is very nice. Looks like Jonathan Scope homered twice in this game and had 7 RBIs. My word. So we just swept Arizona somehow. And they're below 500, but getting swept by us is difficult to do. Now we hop into a tie ball game against the Braves. It's 6-6. Ryan Kreidler at second base and 1 out. Akil Baddoo already 2 for 4 today and a chance to walk it off here. It's Joe Jimenez. Meatball ripped up the middle. And we're going to send Kreidler home. He's headed there. And the game is over in 1 pitch. Let's go. The Tigers win 7-6. Baddoo was 3 for 5. Austin Meadows gets player of the game with a 2 for 3 day with a home run. Joey Wentz got the win with 3 innings pitched. And it looks like Torkelson was 2 for 3. Some good hitting today by the Tigers. Good work. And it looks like Javier Baez is available to come back. So I'm going to make a change to the active roster now. Alright, so against righties, it's going to look kind of like this. Baddoo, Green, Meadows, Vierling, Haas, Torque, Biggie, Scope, and Baez. And against lefties, we'll do Green, Vierling, Scope, Haas, Torque, Baddoo, Perez, Baez, and Meadows. Those are our new lineups with Baez back. And he is probably a guy that, could be traded if he does not step things up until the trade deadline. I'm not sure when that actually is, but we come to it and he hasn't really stepped things up in enough time, then I'd think about looking at offers for him. And for the active roster, Will Vest still has not gotten any chance to actually come in and pitch this year, so I might as well just send him down to AAA and get him some playing time there. That'll clear a spot on our active roster. Now it's cleared. Next day of scouting, we do get Guzman up to 100%, and he's got 85 to 90 potential and has a better future in terms of contact than most of the guys that I have seen previously. He's definitely a guy to look at for a late round pick. We also got 95% for Osborne and Ted Rosenberg. Rosenberg, I think I'm less sold on now than I was before, as his potential and overall both drop, but his power lefty, his lefty power is still extremely high, but his interest is pretty low, so it's hard to draft a guy who's not going to have much interest in signing with you. There's also Osborne to be got to 95%, but I think I'll table him and not continue scouting. And I do want to at least check out a couple of pitchers, and Cedric Gilliland, who does not have a rank for either us or the league, has some insane stuff going on here, but he has some huge ranges, so we're going to have him scouted for sure. And we're also going to scout Scott Gilliam, a center fielder, and Brian Acevedo, who is a shortstop. So we're going to scout these guys and see what comes up. And it looks like right after we are pretty much done simming, Miggy has broken a shin. Going to be out for 1 to 2 months. We're going to move him to our 60-day injured list, and I will fix the lineups now. I'm going to let Akil Baddoo come in and bat DH against righties. The game automatically took him out once I told him to auto fix the lineup. So, and also I'm gonna put Torque back at first because that's his natural position. We'll have Villen go to third base now instead. And for lefty hitters, I'm gonna let Nick Maton come in to get some more playing time for him, and we'll let him DH and let Vierling play in left field. And so far this year, since we called him up, Torque is batting only .211 on the year. Slugging is down, on base percentage is extremely low. So we're going to player log with him today against the Twins. The Twins are already up 3-0 here in the second, with Torque at the plate for the first time in this matchup. Pablo Lopez. Beat ball, crushed to center field, doesn't have enough, probably not. But we're going to keep going as far as we can. It's caught at the warning track. Carlos Correa grounds out, double play ball. There it is. That's what, a 1-4-3? Don't see that very often. Last 10 games, he's got 2 doubles, 6 RBIs off of them. Another one, it's grounded right to first base. Lopez runs over and taps the bag. Now it's 4-0, and Lopez has pretty much had no problem so far today. Just 66 pitches here in the 7th inning. And Torque got another good ball to swing on, but he left the slurve up there, and it's caught in center field. Some really nice pitches to, do something with, but can't do anything right now. We go bottom 8. Jorge Lopez now in. Another good pitch to swing on. This time we're behind it. But now it's a 1-score game. Still behind, but it's 3-4. That one is a really quick sinker, 98 mile per hour. God damn. Lopez has some heat, man. There's ball 1. There's ball 2 outside, trying to get us to chase the curve. Inside sinker, got him. And the Twins very quickly take game 1 of the series. Christian Vasquez was hitting 3 for 4, had a double and 2 RBIs. Lopez gets the win. Pablo Lopez gets the win after a 10 strikeout performance, and Lorenzen gets the loss. Going to game 2, and the Tigers now lead 2-0 here, bottom of the first, against Tyler Mahle. Hopefully I'm saying that right, but we got a man on second. Trying to see if Torque can get a base hit or something just to bring another insurance run home. Schoolball is on the mound today for the Tigers and has brought his ERA below 4, so he's definitely stepping things up recently in terms of his pitching. Lorenzen, definitely not, but we'll see about him. He's been cold pretty much all season. The 1-1 count for Torque. That's low. Left upstairs is the fastball. Could not get in front of it enough. Count goes 2-2. That's outside. Full count. Oh, he strikes out. The splitter got him. That's a really well-placed pitch. Runners at the corners, top of the 4th for Donovan Solano. The Twins are now in front. It's grounded. That's going to be 5-4-3. The inning is over. Great job right there by Vierling to make the throw to Scope at second. Haas at first here for Torkelson. And no outs. Ball 1 inside and low. Another low fastball fouled off this time. Outside cutter, chased it. Count goes 1-2. That one's in there for ball number 2. Trying to get that pitch count up as well. Oh, the cutter. Way in front of it is Torkelson. That was off the plate too. Go top of the 6th. Matt Manning now on the mound as Correa over the head of Torque into right field. And that is going to score. Another run for Minnesota. No, it's not. He's out. Meadows, a great throw to home plate. And Ericas tags him out. It's still a 1-run game. And so Torque leads off the 6th for Detroit. Trying to have a better at-bat than any of his previous ones. I have been playing a lot of Road to the Show on the same exact settings, and I'm having some success there, but not sure it's going to translate. The 1-2 is in there and fouled off. Bit in front of it. Another one fouled off. Way outside. Trying to get me to chase extremely far. Count goes 2-2. Molly after 77 pitches. That's high. Meatball! But way ahead of the cutter. That was a really nice pitch to deal with. Now did he go around? He did not. It's a walk. Vierling grounds it into right field, so Torque strolls into second. 2 men on, no outs for the Tigers. Here's a second look. He's got a right past first base. Now Scope steps up, batting now 284 this year, so definitely having a really good last couple of weeks at the very least. The 0-1 pitch swung on, grounded, double play ball. Torque gets to third, but now there's 2 outs. Just what Minnesota wanted. Now it's Baez's turn. 0 for 6 so far in the series. Can he bring home the tying run? No, he cannot. Inning over. Giovanni Moran now in on the mound for Minnesota, who is now up 8-4. Not sure what Torque saw there. And now a low changeup way in front of it. The Twins take game 2 as well. They have already won the series. Your usual Tigers baseball showing up here in this game. Alright, second to last week of scouting, and we did get some more info on Gilliam, and Acevedo. Got the first 2 guys to 50%, but probably going to remove Gilliam from our scouting because his potential has dropped significantly. Gilliam's is still not bad, but his overall is going to be extremely low. I think I still want to scout him maybe, but he's only got 38% interest, but it will go up if we keep scouting him each week. But I'm not really sure about that. Acevedo, by the way, up to 48% interest, but I might have to change our thing to shortstop to get more interest at that position. So take off starting pitcher for now. Go back to short. And Acevedo, definitely a guy to look at to add to our board. 83 to 88 potential, so definitely a guy to look at later in the draft. All right, this week I want to get some more info for some infielders, so we're going to look at Mohamed Guevara, Jimmy Burris, and Larry Ladd. And Ladd we have talked about previously, Burris we have mentioned previously, but both guys we don't have a lot of scouting info on, but these guys all have pretty good potential. And Larry Ladd, by the way, already has high interest in us and has high potential. And according to this, has some really good contact potentially as well, and some good discipline, which could go a long way. So a potential really good batting infielder, so definitely want to get more info on him. Now we go to game 3 in the series. We've already lost this one, as we have already seen. Sonny Gray on the mound for the Twins. And Torque get a hit off anybody. We'll see. Left it up, but the slurve is hit to the right fielder and caught easily. Good timing, but just couldn't do anything with it. Just gotta find something to grab a hold of for Torque. He really just cannot find the base hit. He just can't find the bag. He can't get to it. Go bottom 3. Tigers now at 1-0 and runners at the corners. 2 outs though, so gotta make this count. That's low for ball 1. God, that slurve is so slow. Fools me every time. 1-2 count. And that's crushed. Perfect timing. That one's gone. Torque has his first home run of the season, I think. I'm pretty sure that's it. We finally got him something. Is this the spark he needs? That is his first. 449. That's what I'm talking about. He torqued it. That's the power that he needs to show. He's got the potential. He just has to make the most of it. Extend the Tigers' lead to 4 as we bring home Riley Green and Eric Haas. Another look at this one. Absolute bomb. Love to see it. Welcome to the show again, big sir. Go top of the 4th. Correa at the plate. And that's over the head of Torque into right field. It gets down for extras. Rounding first, heading for second. Meadows makes the throw. And Correa's in there for a leadoff double. Twins could not capitalize on the leadoff double from Correa, so we go bottom 4 and we get a man on on third and second against Chris Paddock. 2 outs. There's ball 1. Torque trying to do some more damage. That one is hit to third base, but it's grounded, and he's out, and the inning ends. Little in front of it. It's now 7-4. Paddock's still in there. Torque fouls off the first pitch. Bit behind the slider. Nobody on, Foreman, no outs. And this one is hammered to opposite field, but he'll mosey on over, and it's caught a few feet shy of the warning track for out number 1. And the Tigers avoid the sweep, winning this one 7-4, and mostly power behind that 3-run blast from Spencer Torkelson, which was honestly the highlight of the entire episode. Finally got something to go for him, so we'll see if we can use that to put together a nice streak of hitting here. So after that game, here's what the stats look like this year. Meadows batting .241, 8 home runs. Gary Carpenter batting .259. He's got 10 home runs. Riley Green only 2 home runs so far. We saw his second one last episode. He's batting .264, so he's definitely picking things up recently. He was at .232. Scopes got 9 home runs and batting .286. Miggy at .197. but he's on IL right now. Badu has 7 home runs, 7 stolen bases, and batting .281 as well. Eric Haas leads the way with 12 home runs on the team, batting .260. Maton around .250. Beerling around .260. Kreidler and Baez below .190. Torque around .190, and Rogers at .185. Perez .235, so around where Green was previously, but not a whole lot for the at-bats down here for these guys. But you're seeing that a lot of guys are actually, playing a little bit better here this month at the very least, batting in the mid to upper mid 200s, so that's very nice to see. But still, nobody batting above 286. It's hard to win games if you don't have a guy like a star player who's doing that. So that's one of the first things we have to do, is find that franchise player that you build around that's a good hitter. For pitching, Turnbull still has the best ERA in terms of our starters. Wait, no, Erod does now at 381. So he's been playing some really good baseball recently, despite a 5-6 record. But he, Schoolball, Manning, and Turnbull are all around 6-6 or 5-6. So kind of similar numbers. Manning definitely the worst of the 4, but Turnbull, Schoolball, and Erod have been pretty solid actually, so I'm not gonna make any huge changes there at the very least. Erod's got 10 quality starts out of how many total starts? I can't really tell, but he's pitched 85 innings, so 15 games started, and 10 of those were quality, so we definitely take that. That's pretty damn good. Casey Mize has brought his ERA down to 5.78, but still not where it needs to be. Looks like he, Lorenzen, and Matthew Boyd all have, whips in the 1.5 range. Manning does too, so that's got to get down as well. Matthew Boyd not having a terrible year whatsoever, 4.16 ERA, 1.52 whip, 3 quality starts, and 11 chances. So he's not been awful. Joey Wentz, not bad either. I mean, the pitching really has gotten a lot better down the stretch. So there's nobody that's really been, terrible, except for, you could make the argument for Mize and Lorenzen. So those 2 guys, probably the worst of the bunch here. Rosenthal, though, in 12 innings pitched, has pitched well. He's 9 for 10 in those opportunities, as far as I can tell. And he's got 5 holds, too. But we have a trade offer from the Angels. They want Eric Haas, and they want to give us Kai Busch. So Kai Busch is currently down in Double-A, and he's pitching very well. A 2.02 ERA, 84 innings pitched so far. He's 5-3 as a starter, 1.12 whip, 10 quality starts. I mean, he's having a really good season. A 2.8 WAR. Do we make this trade? Get Kai Busch, and they get Eric Haas, who's been one of our top power batters on this season. I mean, you get a really good prospect who has high potential, already a solid overall, and he's pitching very well. I think I'm down to make this offer, actually. I'm down to make this trade, and we'll let Jake Rogers play catcher. So let's do it. Honestly, why not? So Eric Haas has been traded. In that case, Rogers will get most of his playing time. He's not batting very well this year, but we kind of expect that. Dylan Dingler, down in AAA, obviously, as we saw, is batting pretty well, but he is progressing. So I think I want to keep him down here to let him progress further, because I don't want to mess that up. I don't want to bring him up with low contact and low power. It's not where it needs to be right now, so we're going to keep him down at AAA for the time being. And I'm probably not going to call up a catcher, but I might call up somebody else. In fact, I think we have a couple guys that we can add to the active roster. So first, I'm going to bring up Jason Foley. I'm going to add him to our 40-man and call him up. And honestly, why not bring in Cesar Hernandez to be kind of a utility guy at 32 years old? So we're going to put in Rogers at catcher, going to keep everything else as it is, and I'll probably just move him down the lineup all the way to the bottom, because he kind of stinks. And same thing for lefties, and I think instead here we're going to have somebody else obviously play cleanup. And Javi is our best power lefty, so despite his rough year, I'm going to move him up to clean-up spot, and we'll put Meadows over Rogers. There you go. And for Kai Bush, I'm going to put him to Double-A immediately because that's where he was playing originally. We got his stats back there now, so we'll see how he does for us in Double-A. I'll try and make sure that he is actually used in the rotations. Got Jackson Jobe, Kervin Castro, 318, Hanafi with a 312, Flores 3.97, Ty Madden 4.91. So we're gonna let Kai Bush be a starter in place of Ty Madden, and we'll move Madden up to the top long relief guy instead. So we'll do this now. We'll also move Bush up in the rotation as well, above Castro. We kind of had Jackson Jobe and Kai Bush as kind of our hopeful starting pitching prospects, as well as Flores and Ty Madden. Those are the guys that we're looking for mostly. We sim the rest of June, splitting a 4-game series with the Rangers, and then losing game 1 of a 3-game series on the road in Colorado. We have reached July 1st, and the draft is only in 7 days, so it is going to be on the 7th right here. So that is going to be a massive day for the Tigers. We have until then and probably one final scouting week, which we'll do right now. We have a critical situation, but I'm just going to sim this, and it looks like we did lose the game, unfortunately, leading 1-0 in the 9th. Now it's time for our final scouting assignments. We got 100% scouting on Guevara, Burris, and Larry Ladd, and these guys all could be guys that we go after. Guevara, one of the top batting prospects that I have ever seen in this draft class. He is apparently going to have, or already does have, really good lefty contact. Vision is already in a pretty good spot. Discipline's pretty nice. Contact righty is minimum 60, which is really solid. He's got good stealing, good speed, and eventually could have, a decent fielding, but this guy is pretty good. He might be a guy that we go after in the first round, perhaps. There's also Jimmy Burris, who's got very high potential, can play second, third, and short. Mostly know about him in terms of his fielding and speed. Not a whole lot of batting that we can tell. And for Larry Ladd, another good hitter. So I think Larry Ladd and Guevara are top players to potentially be taken in the first round by us. I would not be shocked if I made one of those moves with our second first-round pick. Now, there is one problem here, and that's that, as we have talked about previously this episode and before this one, most of the top prospects are pitchers, and we have pick number 3. Now, I'm going to take who I want to take, but I definitely am at least thinking about if we should take one of those pitchers with our first-round pick and then go after somebody like Guevara or Vinny Fernandez, perhaps. I'm honestly not really sure what to do, and I need y'all's comments down below to help me decide. And I think I will try and get as much scouting as I can on the top overall prospect, which actually no, because he's going to go first overall. I'm not going to scout Ruiz. Jimenez is probably going to be pretty solid. I will try and get more scouting for Albert Castellano. I'll get scouting for let's see, who do we want to scout? There is Mario Acosta, a reliever. We haven't really looked at many of those. And then I guess we'll do a position player, one of the top rated players that we can find. There is Mike Goff, first baseman. It looks like he might have some power and contact too. Really good batting, not much speed in fielding, but I think I will try and scout him to the best of our ability. Try and make him our number 1 priority. But we can't even get more than 45% on him, fortunately. But regardless, we'll try and get interest up for those guys by scouting them with our last scouting week. Now the Rangers have offered us Martin Perez in exchange for Jonathan Scope. And Perez this year is probably having a worse year than most of our starters, so I'm not really interested in this. And Scope is honestly a pretty useful player at this point. He is 31 years old, and he's on a 1-year deal. So I don't want to just take on more salary for a pitcher that's not even as good as some of ours. So why not just decline this, you know? Now we do end up dropping the series against the Rockies, but Erod had a complete game shutout against them in Game 3. So another just phenomenal pitching day for him. He pitched all 9, 5 hits, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, and he's brought his ERA all the way down to 3.17. He is having a phenomenal second half, or at least a phenomenal middle part of the season. Now we have one series until we get to the draft, and we're going to get there next time out. I'll add players to our draft board once we actually get to the draft, and we'll see all of that unfold next episode, which is going to be the biggest one of the entire series. So thanks guys for watching, and look forward to next time. Please like, subscribe, and as always, comment down below. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.